Hello and welcome to another edition of Razorwire Raw. Now, today we're going to be talking about human beings, the condition of being a human being, the cycle of our technology, and Ouroboros, a spiritual snake that eats its own tail. So come with me on this particular journey. Now, this is an old InfoSec person with many years' experience talking to you to offer a little bit of wisdom. I've been talking to a lot of, I would consider them young'uns to the industry. They're not young, but they haven't seen some of the tech cycles that we are seeing at this moment in time. This is the first time, in many respects, that they're going through a rapid advance in technological application. And I'm talking about artificial intelligence here. You know, we're talking about it a lot. So let's use this as an example. AI technology is being adopted by organizations far faster, far more prolific than I think a lot of people were expecting. And now a lot of us older generation of InfoSec people and technologists as well have been through these kinds of cycles a number of times. And this is why I use Ouroboros as kind of like a metaphor for what we're going through, because every single cycle has pretty much been the same thing. Now, I was there when the internet rose to prominence. I am that old. I was there when virtualization became a thing. And then from that, we had platforms as a service, cloud technology. And, you know, each one was a rapid advancement in how we manage technology and how we operate technology within our organization. Now, the human race has been around for many, many millions of years in various different formats, you know, and one of the key things that our species is very good at, and part of the reason why we've risen to prominence, is we're very good with tools. We're very good at generating ways to build things that make our lives a lot easier. Look at fire, for instance. Fire was one of the significant pieces of technology that we developed, along with the wheel and various other things. And when we develop that technology, we find cool new ways to utilize that technology. With fire, it was cooking food, making it able to be preserved for longer periods of time. We also found out that salt would do the same thing. And our species has been very good at doing that. You know, the Industrial Revolution, look at that one. You know, everybody was doing things manually back then. Then technology came along and said, we can do this better. And we developed similar kind of chains that we have now that allow us to rapidly create things from raw materials and cutting out, to a certain extent, some of the human element, which caused a lot of problems back in the day in the Industrial Revolution. And it's been causing all kinds of problems pretty much throughout our whole history. Now let's move to a more modern time. The internet. Before the internet, if you wanted to learn something, you had to go to a library. Now, going to a library meant that quite often you were finding books that were quite old. They weren't necessarily accurate for that time period. Sometimes you would pick up two books, say on physics. One would say one thing and another would say the other thing. And then you'd have to figure out between them which one was accurate, which one worked out for you as an individual. And then comes along the internet. Now, initially, the internet was used for very different things. Initially, it was used for communication and spicy content. Lots of spicy content, because then it could be shared all over the place. And trust me, the internet for a long time was utilized for a lot of that. And then we started putting our repositories of knowledge, Wikipedia, that kind of stuff, on the internet, started communicating via various better means as that technology advanced. It was a cycle. There was a rapid adoption. Lots of companies jumped on the bandwagon. Lots of organizations jumped on the bandwagon. A lot of people jumped on the internet bandwagon. And then we found cool ways to utilize that technology. Some good, some not so good, until it became a significant part of the way our species operates. Without the internet, if that was to disappear tomorrow, I honestly think there would be serious, serious problems, because let's face it, lots of people rely on it now. Organizations and people and comms and all kinds of things. Virtualization went through the same kind of rapid phase of adoption. All of a sudden, virtualization became a thing. Everybody and their mother was creating a company. All the IT people, anybody with any talent was creating a cloud company to utilize this new kind of technology to profit. And companies spun up all over the place. Some were bought, others fell over. A lot of the early adopters of virtualization went through some significant problematic phases where they would, say, adopt that technology, but then they would find the company that they adopted it with would fall over the 2 or 3 months later and take their data with them. But that crystallized over time, and now you've got a very solid, stable structure with a lot of different organizations creating CRM tools, creating HR tools, and all kinds of different tooling around as a service platforms. And again, those were adopted very, very quickly. There were some early adopters who had some problems, but eventually that technology crystallized. And again, now pretty much most of the technology we consume is in some way very distributed. We've discussed this before. Now, all of those cycles followed very similar principles. Somebody dreams up an interesting new way of doing things. Everybody's very skeptical. Proof of concepts come out. People start to see good applications of that technology. They start to adopt it. There's a kind of early adoption phase where that technology is running around in a nappy or a diaper if you're American, trying to figure out what it's doing, trying to figure out where it's going, like a small child. But eventually that child grows up, and you end up with the situation that we're here today. Now, every time this cycle has occurred, and take it from an old bloke, it has been faster and it has sped up. So the internet, when that first came out, the adoption was pretty fast because everybody saw, the utilization of that technology, but it took a lot longer than virtualization. Now, virtualization, when that came along, again, lots of people adopted it very quickly, and before it crystallized. But it was a faster movement than people adopting the internet. Platforms as a service, software as a service, went through a similar kind of cycle, rapid adoption, and it was faster than the virtualization adoption before it. Now we are walking into artificial intelligence. Love it or hate it, it's happening. We're seeing a lot of people who are talking about how rapidly it's been adopting. We've got all kinds of companies that have popped up all over the place. We've got VC and PE companies going nuts and spending vast quantities of money on a lot of unproven technology, trying to be the first there to generate as much profit as possible. It is fast. We have reached that pinnacle in technology, and I've done some podcasts on this. We've talked about all various different applications of AI and how beneficial or non-beneficial it is. I've been on various other people's podcasts, which you're probably going to see relatively soon, where we discuss where we are in the adoption of AI. Now, one of the things that we find when new technology comes up, when that fast adoption cycle starts coming up, people sacrifice security on the altar of the new technology. We've got to be first. We've got to beat our competitors. We've got to become more efficient. We've got to do this faster and adopt this quicker than we have done with other technology before to be the first there. And AI has really changed the speed and the game, because the first people to adopt true AI are going to be the ones who win. I think everybody probably agrees with that. Maybe not everybody, but it is going to be the case. We're seeing a lot of big tech companies sacrificing a lot of people's jobs now for utilizing AI. And there are a lot of teething problems, a massive amount of teething problems. And there's a lot of conflicting news coming out. Amazon had problems with their adoption of some of the AI that they replaced their workforce for. That's been documented. And we're going to see a lot more of that. And a lot of it goes under the radar because a lot of the companies that are finding this aren't necessarily the big ones who get reported in the media about some of the problems that we're having. But it's still going to happen, and it's still going to happen fast. We've had all this problem with AI agents, and now AI agent companies are popping up all over the place. Lead generation companies, efficiency companies, automation companies. Everything is happening so damn quick that it's very, very difficult for us security people to keep up with things. But we need to change things. We need to make things more efficient in our security, because we have seen some serious problems with the adoption of AI technology within our organization. Reports of product databases being deleted, entire environments being deleted, all because the AI prompt and what people were asking the AI to do was basically done in a way that technology, being dumb, will do whatever you tell it to do. So if you ask it to do something and you ask it in the wrong way, you will find things being deleted, or it will be doing things that you didn't think it was going to do. It's literal. This is where security steps in. We're not here to stop you from doing what you want to do, which is adopt this new technology. What we're trying to do is to frame your mind and say, yes, we can adopt this. Yes, we can do this, but let's do it in a controlled manner. Let's not just throw out all the checks and balances and start doing stuff willy-nilly. Let's do this to a plan. Let's do some adequate testing. Let's do some security testing, and let's make sure that this is fit for purpose. Now, the companies that do that will prosper. The companies that sacrifice that probably will not. It's a flick of the coin. Is it going to go on heads? Is it going to go on tails? If it's heads and it works, fantastic, everybody wins. If it goes to tails, you see your business die, or you see a significant security event. Now, this is what we need to do. We need to change this. And we need to bring security people into these AI projects that I'm seeing all over the place, these AI transformation projects, to be able to look objectively. Because a lot of these stuff, a lot of this technology is based off of the concepts of virtualization and as a service technologies and subscription services. And we're going to be seeing a lot more people springing up with companies providing AI agents to be able to do all kinds of things. And we need to do security checks and balances on that, because they're third parties and their security is probably not going to be as good as you want it to be, because they're startups, and startups don't have the money to do adequate security as a general rule. So this is my warning to you guys. You can jump on the AI train. It is a cycle happening. We are rapidly adopting it at the moment. But if you don't want to be an early adopter that falls foul of some of the problems of this technology, you need to do it in a managed way. So give us a shout. If you've got any interesting comments that you want to make, then please feel free to comment on this video. I'm just sitting here telling you this is something that has happened before, and it will happen again. Maybe AI is the last technological advancement we will do as a species, if you believe some people. But let's just see where this one goes. Please feel free to like and subscribe. Drop me DMs, look after yourselves, and I'll see you again on another Razorwire Raw soon.